Hello, welcome back to Core Finance. I'm Matt Brown. I'm joined by David Paul, MD at VectorVest, and today we're going to look at 5 stocks that you potentially should have in your portfolio. But let's just start off with an overview of the market, the confirmed calls in the UK markets, David. What is this telling us at the moment regarding market timing, and should we be long, short or cautious?
Well, good morning. Yes, as we go into the trading day today, the VectorVest composite, which is a composite of the 2,200 shares that we follow on the London market, the short-term trend is down, longer-term trend is down, and VectorVest advocates sitting on your hands today until at least the short-term trend turns up. I think that the lows of last week are starting to look quite strong. I think the market made a low last Friday. That low was at a Fibonacci level, which some traders respect. On our market timing indicator, which is just below the price, we can see that it's moving into an oversold situation. So I think that low of last Friday is starting to look quite strong. However, the trends are down, and certainly if that low of last week were to fail, then the market can go an awful lot lower. So it's a time to be very careful. We advocate buying safe, undervalued shares that are rising in price when the general market is rising in price. And at the general market, at the moment, the general market is in fact not rising. The trends are still strongly down. So time to be careful, yes.
Time to do your homework, but in the meantime, it's always good to put a few stocks on the Christmas list.
Well, quite so, yeah.
So we start off with Gleeson. Seems to be performing very well.
Well, yes, Gleeson is a small niche builder, building relatively inexpensive homes in the centre of England. They've got many big plans to double or treble the amount of houses they're going to build over the next 3 years. A theme of all the shares that I'm going to be talking about this morning is that they're undervalued, and the thick green line amount above the price is the VectorVest valuation. And we favour undervalued shares, and as I've bored you with many times before, the only way to make money in anything is to find the value of something and then pay less for it.
It's not boring, it's a very simple mantra.
It's undervalued. The blue line study in the window below the price is earnings per share growth, and as Ben Graham, Buffett's mentor, said many years ago, earnings per share growth is the engine that drives the share price. So I like to see earnings per share growth rising smoothly from the bottom left to the top right of the chart, and that's in fact the case here. I always like Matt, when I see a consolidation such as that ascending triangle in Gleeson, if within the ascending triangle earnings per share is growing, then it invariably breaks and breaks strongly, and that would seem to be the case here. That I think is a fairly bomb-proof share over the next few years, yes.
Good stuff. And moving on to Stobart, or Eddie Stobart, a lot of people will see these on our roads, but looking at the share price from the Transportation Services Group, but also logistics as well, which is important to note.
Very much so logistics at the moment. Again, earnings per share jumped up strongly during the middle of 2017, and we have a scan on VectorVest that can actually find shares where the earnings per share has risen enormously, and that came out of a scan that I did some weeks ago. As the earnings per share rose, then VectorVest in fact revalued the share, and presently the share is moving sideways in what technicians would refer to as a flag pattern. And those eagle-eyed technicians watching should be able to see that at the moment that pattern is looking quite complete. There's 5 waves within it. Now, since November the 17th, the London market has been falling, but Stobart has been in fact flat, and that relative strength I think is positive. This chart doesn't have yesterday's close on it because I had to get it through to the guys before that, and it charted an exceptionally good day yesterday, again what technicians refer to as an outside day, which is quite positive. But the general market is still falling, and when I tick all my boxes, I get very successful. So Stobart is ticking all the fundamental boxes. It needs to move to a buy recommendation on VectorVest, and the general market needs to turn up. When I can tick those two remaining boxes, then I think that the Stobart Group looks good, and the target is a fairly high percentage move on that share. So, as it breaks out of that consolidation, which has lasted 6 months now, it should break with a fair gusto, I think.
Good. We'll look out for that one. Volex Group as well, again, trading below the VectorVest valuation, but it's had a steady rise since the middle of the summer.
Yeah, looks
Can it
good.
bridge that gap?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
I think so. It's going up very strongly. As you can see, since November the 17th, when the general market was falling, it's said, I don't care. And it's moving up the page.
Yeah.
So I think that's that relative strength
Yes.
since November the 17th is very positive, yes. So there's something good going on here.
Good. And let's have a look at, this is Clydesdale Bank.
Well, it's the holding company of Clydesdale Bank, yes. Again, undervalued. Earnings per share growing strongly. Over the last few weeks, the earnings per share growth has jumped, and at the same time, we've actually pushed up our valuation. As you can see, the share broke significant highs, and then has come back and kissed that high 3 times. So it's made a treble bottom there. And yesterday, it had a very good day and broke upwards yesterday. So I think it moved from a hold recommendation on VectorVest to a buy recommendation yesterday. So that box is ticked. The only final box is the general market, which is still falling. And when the general market turns and I can tick that box, then I think that CYBG looks as if it's got a nice high percentage move ahead of it.
Anything fundamentally to be looking out for, though, with regards to this particular stock?
Nothing apart from the fact that it's growing earnings at a really good clip. Okay, so there is a little bit of litigation in the wind from many years ago, which could be acting as a damper on the share. But certainly the numbers looking really good. So I like the look of that.
Good. And next up, Games Workshop updated the market quite recently, and I actually thought the numbers were quite strong. And it's a stock that's been performing very well in the leisure retail sector. In fact, just talk us through. Looks like it's given a little bit back, though.
It's given a little bit back over the last a few days as the market was falling. Many people will have sort of bought the rumor and sold the news. It came back. It came back again to a Fibonacci level and has made a little double bottom at that particular level. I am hoping that the worst is over in the share. I've been holding the share for a long time, and I've been waiting to tick all my boxes to add to the share. But it's performed very well over the last 2 or 3 days, and I'm hoping that the worst is over. Nevertheless, it's on a hold recommendation on VectorVest, so I would advise people to do nothing until that hold changes to a buy, and also that the general market rejoins the party and moves up the page. As I said much earlier, I think that last week's lows on the FTSE or VectorVest composite look quite strong, and with any luck, we're going to move back up from here. But as Mark Twain says, prediction is very difficult, especially about the future.
It's the only thing you can predict is unpredictability.
Yeah.
So, with regards to finding out more information and conferences and seminars that you hold, can you just explain to our viewers who are new to VectorVest what you have in store over the coming weeks?
I think that VectorVest.co.uk, there's lots and lots of information there. If anybody likes a trial run of VectorVest, then you can try VectorVest UK and VectorVest USA for 5 weeks. It's going to cost £5.95 to test it for 5 weeks. In January, we'll have a series of seminars again in central London, so if you keep your eye on the website, you can actually register for those seminars. And I'll be back at Core Finance for one more time before the holidays.
Well, very much look forward to it. But in the meantime, David, Paul, Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Matt. It's been great.